Hey everybody, we're going to go over how to make a panorama slash 360 photo today. I'll be flying the 3DR Solo using the Solex app. However, you could do this pretty much with any camera, phone, whatever, as long as you take enough pictures. You could also do this with a different drone, but I will show specifically how to do it on the Solo today. So as you can see, the first thing I did was just connect using Solex and take off, and then just basically fly into position. You can see I almost started doing it there, but I get to it in a minute. Alright, so as you fly into position, you'll see here I'll basically just hit the camera button down in the lower left, and you can select a whole bunch of different shots there. For this, you just want to select the pano shot. It'll pop up here in a second when I stop recording there, and I hit the camera in the bottom left, and I select pano, and then I change the pano type to sphere. I haven't played around with video yet, and then you're going to go ahead and hit start. You can change the pan angle and the pan rate as is. I have them set to the default, and I found that they did a pretty good job. Now, I'm sure if you had a slower pan rate and a smaller pan angle, it would probably produce better results that are easier to stitch together later if it, produces more photos. In this case, it's taking 15 photos, and it will basically create a 360 by 180 range. That way, you can look all the way down, and you can see it starting to wrap up here, and it's doing all this on its own. Right now, you're just sort of letting it fly. It's in, well, it's going to pop up as guided mode, but it's basically just flying the shot for you. You can see it's panned down now. I was a little concerned with this shot. The main problem here is that there's so much ocean in a lot of these shots that there's not a lot of control points for the there's not a lot of change in color for the software to pick up, so it creates a little bit of a challenge when you go to stitch it together. Hopefully in the future I'll be able to show you guys a little bit more advanced stitching, but today I'm just going to cover the basics because I'm still learning the stitching software. Once you get all your shots, you can just return home or continue on your flight. You could go do several of these if you wanted, but I just chose to do one the other day for the purpose of this video, so we'll move into the computer now. Alright, so what I like to do when I first take these into the computer is I want to open up the file, open up the original files, and then I'm going to go ahead and copy them over here to a new folder. That way I just have them all organized, because when I first started doing this, I realized that I just left them on the GoPro, SD card, and it was super confusing for me to try and go back and forth. So that's just something I do. I also like to look through them a little bit, make sure they turned out okay, and sort of see what I'm looking at and see what struggles I think I'm going to come up with, or struggles I'm going to have creating this. So once you do that, you can go ahead and open, in this case I use the app called Hugin. It's a free app, free software. I originally was using a different one that I needed a license for, and it kept watermarking, but I was able to figure out this one pretty well, and it's free, so I chose to go with this. It's open source. It's free online for Windows and Mac. So you'll go ahead and click Load Images. It's pretty straightforward. Then you navigate to the images you want. I selected all those. I just dismissed the warning there. I don't really know what it's about. So I'm not sure what the focal length of the GoPro is here, but I'm just going to leave it as it is, as a full frame fisheye. I'm still playing around with some of these settings, but then the next step is just to click a line there, and I'll speed this part up, but basically you just have to wait for it to align all the images. This is where it's automatically finding control points and setting all the images together to stitch for a 360. Alright, so once it's done aligning, we still have a little bit of work to do. As you can see, it's a little goofy looking. So we'll go into the projection tab. We'll skip these other ones for now. We'll go into the projection tab. I have equal rectangular selected, but there's a bunch of different options. You guys can mess around with that. I've messed around with it. I'm still finding which ones I like the best. And then you're going to go into the move/drag tab and make sure you hit straighten. That's going to fix the horizon for the most part, and then you can still adjust it a little bit. And then in the crop tab, you can crop it, you can make it a little smaller if you don't like some stuff. As you can see, I have some little black splotches up there. I'm not going to really deal with that in this video. Hopefully I'll show you guys how to fix some of this stuff later once I figure it out. As you can see, I'm moving it around right there, but then if you hit that green button, that's important. That'll make sure everything's visible. That's really key if you're trying to do a 360 by 180, like really the full frame. And so again, I hit that green button to make sure it's all there. You can also use the slider bars on the right there. So when you've finished all your adjustments, you go back to the Assistant tab up top. This is after everything's good to go. You go to the Assistant and then Create Panorama. Now I like to do it in, oops, I messed up there, but if you choose the JPEG format, I just crank it up a little bit for some reason. I'm not really sure what those other options are. I haven't been able to really unlock them. I don't know what I did to make that the case. And then it'll force you to save it. I like to come up with some sort of naming convention that's pretty useful. As you can see, I named it, and then I included what type of projection I was using there, because I've been messing with that a bit. And then it makes you save not only the project but also the final image. And so you can see me naming that there as well and saving. And then this save process also takes a few minutes. But at this point, we're almost done. So I'll go ahead and speed this up for you, and then I'll come back to you when it's done. Now that we've saved our file, you can go ahead and open it up and inspect it. You can see me doing this in a second here. But there's one last step we got to do. There's a second software I use called EXIF Fixer, and it basically reminds Facebook or any other 360 viewer that you should view it as a 360 photo and not just as a normal JPEG. Otherwise, you won't be able to upload it to Facebook and really view it. So you open this up and you basically just hit Choose JPEG, and then you find your file and you select it, and then all you're going to do in the software is hit Add Metadata, and it basically just adds some metadata in there that says use the 360 viewer if available, and now you'll be able to view it in Facebook. So you can just close out of there, and you can see me highlighting the lines of code that's pretty important there. You can just open up Facebook. You should be able to just upload it straight away. You can see I had a different version in there from earlier. We'll hit the plus button, and we'll select our file, and you'll see the little 360, the little globe in the middle there. That's a good sign. That means it recognizes our photo as a 360 photo, and that's what that last step is for in the EXIF Fixer, because if you don't do that, it won't recognize it, and it'll just show up as that warped image you were just looking at earlier. So now that you're in it, you can just test it. You can hit the little paintbrush, and you can view it and drag it around and see what you think, and then your viewers will also be able to see this. You can see I have a little misalignment there. I got to try and add some more control points or move them around or something to fix that. But thanks, hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope this helped. I'm sorry I'm not very good at this. This is my first time doing a tutorial like this. I'm usually not the guy talking in any videos I do, but let me know, give me feedback. Did it help? Did it not help? Is there stuff that's still missing? Was it too fast, too slow? Just feel free to leave some feedback, and keep flying.